Yeah. What up, guys? We were just talking about how when you eat Oreos, oh, I do not want another one. How when you eat Oreos or Thin Mint cookies, they get black shit in your teeth. That's what we were talking about. But I wanted to talk to you guys about something. Let me make sure I'm plugged in. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Check out my shirt. Give me nachos, not negativity. What? This is a Savage and Priscilla shirt, so if you love it, go check it out and get it over there. And it is literally the softest sweatshirt I've ever owned in my life. It's amazing. Happy Wednesday, everybody. So I wanted to talk to you about something. If you haven't noticed, I'm getting back on the live stream train. I had kind of fallen off for a little while on live streaming every single day. So here we are, back in the world. I just want to talk to you about something that came up in conversation with a client of mine, and just, I mean, it happens all the time. It's real life. It's a real part of what's going on in people's worlds, and I just think that people need to understand how you handle situations that are thrown at you is what really determines what else gets thrown at you, and what really determines what else is going to come into your space. And so one of the big things is being tested. So you ever have those moments where, like, or those times, maybe it's a week, a month, or whatever, where you feel like just all this shit is getting thrown at you, and there's just so many, like, you're being tested. You're like almost start to laugh when stuff goes wrong, right? And you're just like, Jesus, like, seriously right now, what else? Like, what else you got? Bring it on, that sort of thing. Well, I remember a couple years ago when I first started growing my business full time and just really diving like deep into this journey of mine. I remember noticing that that I was getting tested, and I started paying attention to that because I knew that it was almost like I was working and working and working towards something, and then something would happen that would try to distract me from it or make me take steps back or throw me off course. And I started to look at those things as tests. I started to look at those things as things that I needed to make sure I didn't allow to stop me. Because what I realized was that I feel like the universe is like, are you sure you want this? Like, you're pushing towards this new thing. You're going towards this new thing. Let's present you with some big fat hiccups in the road and see how bad you really want it. And that's one thing that I also believe is that it really does always come back down to how bad you want it. So when you have those tests and those things come up, it makes you question yourself. It makes you ask, like, am I doing the right thing? Should I really move forward? And obviously only you know that. Only you know the reality of what you have going on. Only you know if you really are doing the right thing, or if you're doing something out of like maliciously or whatever. Like, you know where your integrity lies, and that's for you to know and whatever. And obviously I'm speaking from a place where you are working from a place of integrity and that you're not doing anything bad. So when you're getting tested like that, though, like, hey, are you sure you want this? Like, you want to level up, you want to take this next step, you want to create this new reality or this new income stream or this new relationship or this new whatever it may be. And then that happens, and you're like, you're getting there and you're getting there, and you get these tests that are things that should stop you. And it's like, okay, well, I got to turn this heater off. And then it's like, okay, am I going to allow it to stop you? And it's in those moments that you have that decision where you get to decide if you let it stop you or not. Like, that is what is the big defining moment. It's just like you've heard me talk about before, and you've heard other people talk about. It's those 5-second decisions too. You know, it's those same things where you have that moment where you're like, all right, like, am I going to let this stop me, or am I going to push through? In that moment of questioning yourself, do you let that little voice in your head tell you no, or do you push through it and tell it to shut up and like tone it down and continue moving forward? Those are all parts of being tested. And to me now, at the point that I'm at now, when I have these sort of tests that keep happening, I look at that as a good thing at this point, because I know I'm on the right track. If I'm being tested, and having these little things kind of pop up that make me think, like, is this what I really need to be doing? Then I know I'm on the right path, because if I wasn't, then I wouldn't have those things coming up. Does that make sense? Like, that means I'm growing. That means I'm expanding. That means I'm trying to create new things, because if I wasn't, there would be no tests. There would be no issue. There would be no problem if I was standing in the same place all the time. So it's a good thing for me to be able to measure, things are falling over here, to be able to measure my own growth and to know that I'm still pushing forward and I'm moving in and leaning into these things whenever I have these moments where I know that I'm being tested, the universe or God or whomever is testing me as to what it is that I'm trying to do. So I just wanted to tell you guys that because I wanted you to know that it happens to everybody, and everybody has those moments where they start comparing themselves to other people. They start questioning what they're doing, if they're doing something right, if they're doing it wrong, like what should I do? Maybe I shouldn't do that. So we all have those moments where we do compare ourselves. And what needs to happen there is I feel like sometimes you take a step back and you look, and when you start to question yourself like that, you need to lean into what you know your purpose is, like what makes you feel powerful, what makes you feel good, what makes you know that you're serving your purpose, what makes you what pushes you closer towards that thing that you're trying to create. That's what you need to lean into and just like own that and know that having that hiccup or having that moment where you do question yourself is normal. That's part of the process. It's not something that only you experience or only you feel. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Sometimes it's scary, yeah, but fear doesn't have to be a negative thing either. Fear can be a measuring stick to know that you're doing something, to know that you're branching out, to know that you're trying something new. That's what fear can be. It doesn't have to be a negative thing at all. It's all a perspective shift. And sometimes it just comes back to remembering who you are and just knowing like, you know what? Yeah, I am going to create this. Yeah, I am going to do this. And just remembering that that's what you have to continue to use as your driving force to push you forward. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, I have a lot of moments where people are like, are you crazy? What are you doing? Because nothing that I do is super ordinary, meaning like it's not in a box. It doesn't fit in a box. It doesn't make sense as to what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to create, and how you're supposed to run a business and how you're supposed to live your life and, you know, those sort of things. And nothing that I do really fits into that category. So I understand, like I get a lot of people that look at me like I'm crazy and like that don't understand anything that I'm doing and, you know, make me question myself. And in those moments, it comes back to like, who am I? Like, what am I doing this for? This has nothing to do with anybody else but me. And so I just want you guys to understand that, like, all of those things added up is what makes the difference. And that you're not alone in the fact that sometimes you feel that way and that people do question you. I almost feel like now at this point when people question, like, what am I doing and why am I doing it that way? I know I'm doing something right. You know, I look at that as a test as well. Like, okay, good. That means I'm on the right path. Like, if this doesn't make sense to you, that means I'm on the right path. Good. That means I'm doing what I need to be doing because I don't want it to be like everybody else's journey. I don't want it to be fit into any sort of box. I choose not to be that person. It's just not who I am. And so I think in those moments, you just need to remember, like, I know that I remind myself of that because of this journey I've been on, but I also know that some people don't know what to do in that moment and they feel really alone and they feel really like conflicted and they do question themselves a lot. And I just wanted to like jump on and say that being tested is a part of the process, and it's really how you handle that moment that determines whether you move forward into that position or that thing that you're trying to create or not. Reading the 4 agreements right now, this reminds me of where they talk about the first agreement. The 4 agreements is such an incredible book. It is so, so good. It is an absolute game changer. And Emily, I'm so glad you're reading it. I'm going to tell you that it's one of those things where, I mean, I've read it several times, and every single time that I read it, I learn a new thing. It's a great, great book. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word, correct? I do believe. I always get them, I don't always say them in order. But, I mean, it's the same situation, basically, though you're right. So anyway, I just really wanted to jump on and say that, and that's really just all I had to say today, is just kind of share that little bit of the journey with you and let you know that if that's what you're going through and that's how you feel or what you've experienced, like, you're not alone. It happens. It's part of it. It's part of the self-discovery. It's part of the branching out. It's part of creating something that other people don't know about. And it's something that's become such a large part of my life that it almost is comforting when it happens now. And I have to remind myself of that. Like, there was a moment couple days ago where I was like, why is this happening to me? You know, I was kind of down about it, I guess, for a couple of hours. And I thought, hi, bunny. And I thought to myself, I was like, no, like I have to remind myself that that is one of those moments where it's the point. Nah, it's comforting, and it's a reminder and reassurance that I'm doing what I need to be doing. So anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys, and just a little afternoon information. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that about it, let me know. I'd love to know your experience. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.